body, first step. And then the soul is not agreeing that he is dead. And he screams with around people that, why are you crying? I'm still alive, I'm still alive. And that is the whole process that is happening. Then that we call him in Yamraj. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Unheard Mysteries, presented by BDI cohort of Universal AI University. So, in this podcast, we'll be discussing about various fascinating, interesting, and mysterious topics which will blow your minds off. So, today's podcast is going to be very interesting as we'll be touching the aspects of what actually happens after death or what happens with the soul if a person dies. I am your host Ridima Jaiswal, and today we have a very special guest with us who is the Dean of our esteemed college. Apart from this, she holds deep knowledge about history as well as she is fascinated from mythology. And apart from this, she loves to read and explore the unexplored things. She's also a spiritual person as well. So today we have with us Dr. Kamatchi Iyer.
Hi.
Welcome, ma'am. And today it's a pleasure for each one of us to have you here today, as well as we would love to hear your thoughts, your insights about the topic we have for today, that is life after death. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine, and it is an interesting, initiative by the students. Equally, I am happy to share my, whatever knowledge I am having related to this. So I'm also looking forward.
Okay. Ma'am, this one question that I was curious about since the day I approached you for the podcast and you said yes was the first thing which came into my mind, and I would love to start with that one question. So since our childhood, we we were listening about many stories that what happens to a person to the soul of the person if a person dies, like that we call it as Atma in Hindi. So, what are your thoughts and views about what actually happens to the soul of the person when a person dies, the detachment or the process, like whatever?
Yeah, if you look into the mythology or the kind of a culture and the whatever rituals we are following, whether it is Hinduism or any other religion, but we can see one or other way they're doing some kind of a rituals which is related to satisfying or fulfilling that the soul which is departing from the body. So, for example, if you look into the kind of the rituals which we are doing, that there is some time limitation is also given. First 13 days they have to do kind of a little bit of a rituals, and after 13th day, and they will be doing some kind of a purification and all those things. So, if you look into the background of that, so they still believe that still that 13 days that we are they will be giving the food and the whatever they like. So these kind of rituals, we are automatically understanding that they are believing, knowingly or unknowingly, they are believing that that soul is roaming around.
Okay.
Am I right? So if it's we normally say that it's gone, and they are sad and they are not able to come out of that particular day to day practice whatever they were doing. But it's not that way that if the pandits will say so. In that kind of a mourning period, people don't understand that what kind of a rituals they are going through, what kind of a things the pandits are telling, and all those things. But if you read thoroughly about the Hindu mythology, it talks about that every day there is some kind of a process. Okay, so they feel that, see, in a better way, I can say that in a Brahmin community, like they will be having, they will install a stone. Okay, they assume that that is the person is there, present over there. That soul is present in that stone, and after that they will be giving some kind of a food and some kind of a shanti, which we call it as to. So we are giving the option that 10 days we are making that soul, whatever departed, that they are roaming around. So we want to satisfy that soul, and we want to give them the complete mukti from that particular place, so that it should not be roaming within that family itself. So that after 13th day we feel that yes, it has reached the next level. Okay, so that is the actual reason behind it. So the next level is that they say that they will mix with their ancestors. So they will go and join the tree. Okay, maybe the ancestors, whoever is already died, so they'll be moving to their that particular tree. So the next year onwards, whenever on that particular tithi you are doing that some kind of ritual, so we say that we're satisfying all those souls, so that it's getting satisfied and no the further rebirth is not happening. So this is, so automatically we understand that there is a rebirth, or the soul is not completely departed and getting a moksha. And that is what I feel, that in every even in Christianity, if you see that the Jesus, after its soul departed, and that we have studied all those things. So in every community, I feel that there are certain beliefs. There is, the soul is getting departed, but somewhere we have to satisfy that. If it is not getting satisfied, that maybe in a one or other way we can feel it, that it's still present around.
Okay, all right. I have also heard many things and read many things about the same topic. So what I have heard and read is, the first step is the soul gets detached from the body. First step, and then the soul is not agreeing that he is dead, and he screams with around people that, why are you crying? I'm still alive. I'm still alive. And that is the whole process that is happening. Then that we call him Hindi Yamraj. Yamraj आते हैं, उन्हें लेके जाते हैं, and then they meet their ancestors and the people who are in the beside the bodies, or who are sitting there. So उन्हें भी, like, they should feel that forgiveness, or they should feel happy about that soul, and उन्हें negative that उस soul के लिए negative feeling नहीं होना चाहिए.
This also, I would also agree to that. Whenever this kind of a things happen, see, forget about the forgiveness and all those things. But if you look into it, that always we talk only positive about anybody's death. You just think this is psychology of a person. Even though it's a cruel person, but normally the tendency is that we have never seen that it's good that person has gone. Very few people will say that the hardly that they are completely struggling because of that person. But otherwise, which I have observed, and you might have observed also, that once when they are dying, then only people will start observing their positive side. This is a general psychology. Maybe it is created in that way only, that we should remember and give them that kind of a satisfaction that yes, I have done something good. Okay, so this is the human psychology, or it is something related to that myth, whatever we call it, the superpower is creating that kind of a thought process within ourselves, that we talk only the good things about the person. So this happens, so that and the kind of what we are telling, we want, see, even though sometimes we say that whatever you like, I'm not going to provide you, but after the death we always, I could have given this. So we do all those things, so to satisfy and allow that soul to move ahead.
Okay. So ma'am, as you mentioned this word rebirth, we also call it as punarjanam. And many people believe that the reborn souls, they have the same traits of their ancestors. And many of them also believe that when a person dies, so the souls find the same place in their own family to reborn again, or their close ones. So what is your thought about this?
Yeah, this also I heard from many people, as well as we have read it in the the mythological stories, whatever we have gone through. So normally they say that when the worm, the fetus is getting developed in the first 3 months, that is they don't get the heartbeat. We start realizing only after the 3rd month. Till the 3rd month, it is not having any shape as such. So they normally feel this. I have heard from my grandparents or somebody, like in the first 3 months, anybody is a close relative is dying in the family. They normally say that if it is a male, they say that you'll get a boy, kind of, because they normally believe in that. They will try to take the shape of the person who will be coming as a new birth, which will be happening in the family. So this we heard from many people. Many times I have also observed, maybe it's a myth, or it is but many times 95% I have observed that in and around that it happens to be true. Okay, so so that means that, and there are certain evidences are also available, as we are telling that in the 3rd month only we are able to get the heartbeat. That means that that soul is finding for some kind of a replacement. And it also it's a reverse effect, something like the after the death, sometimes the people were not pregnant for so many months, so many years they are not having child. So all of a sudden they became the parent. So that is, these are all some kind of linkage must be there. And even in Mahabharata and all those things also, we always see, sometimes we see that the father may not be having a very great character. He may be a cruel king or something like that. But if you see the next generation, that grandfather may be a very good human being. So when that that when they are birth is happening, that the grandchildren will be having the traits of the grandparents. So they believe that the grandparent is coming back to the family,
back to the same family.
Yeah. So there are certain the birthmarks also. This is also maybe a myth, I don't know. Like, I heard from the people, like especially in the village side and all, the people used to say that different kind of a birthmarks are there with the children. Like, the behind, it's a big normal, it's a small size thing, it's a mole. But it is a birthmark which is little bigger in different shapes. They believe that these
on
are
the
all
same place.
so they say that this is an indication of your ancestors have come back to your family. And it also happens that you keep you're affectionate to somebody, like you're so close to your grandparent or somebody, like when this is a cycle happens, then always when the child is born to that particular person, always have that kind of a traits. So it may be related to the rebirth cycle. But if you see in the mythology also, like in the history, if you read about that, the 4 levels of any human being life, like grihastha, and that you might have read it in the history, that first 25 years there is always they are with the gurukul, that is a learning period. The next 20 years always we spend more on the family, materialistic life, the family and getting married and children and all those things. They normally say that the next 25 years we should create that kind of a little bit of a detachment with all this materialistic thing. Maybe the last 25 years they used to say that it should be only to the God, dedicating ourselves to the God. So this is, but that was the cycle which was followed in the old generation. So even in Bhagavad Gita, they talk about that, different kind of marga, like about your meditation, bhakti marga, and, some different kinds, the 4 different kinds of marg they are talking about. So that is indirectly, it is, talking about this. But unfortunately, so that time they were not worried about the rebirth, because automatically the last, level, even a big king, if you see Ashoka, you might have read about, he, even in Buddhism also, they believe in this kind of a, cycle. So always you see the people who spreaded the Buddhism and all that, those kings at the last phase, they're always with Shanti and the Moksha and this marg they have taken over. So they say whatever you do in the first 2 cycles, that if you do a very good thing in the last cycle and dedicate yourself towards the God, the salvation is possible, the Moksha is possible. So that is what the mythology says. But in today's scenario, this kind of a segregation is not there. The people till 90 years, if they are living, they are always attached with the materialistic things. So that may be the reason that this we are not attaching ourselves to that bhakti marga. So automatically that is maybe leading to the rebirth.
So this is basically, we can relate it to karma.
Yes, karma. Same. Nothing else. It's a karma. So the karma, like, we have to weigh that karma in the middle. That is what our history says. That you do, like Ashoka's life history, if you take into consideration, like, he was a very cruel king. He was, bloodsheds everywhere. He was having such a craze for wars and other things. But one point of time, that one Buddhist, what Bhikshu, Buddha Bhikshu we call it. And that saint, he came, that monk, he came. And then he gave that, and that one particular moment, he saw that nobody is around. I'm winning, but like I have lost so many good souls. Like that time he changed, and after 25 years, he did a lot of good things, and whatever he earned, he gave back to the society. So that is karma. So you did something wrong, so you have to weigh somewhere. So when he weighed, he was counseled by a monk. So that means we need a bhakti marg. That is, guru. You need a guru. So if you move towards that direction, so automatically you come out of that kind of a cycle. But That kind of an analysis is not happening in today's generation.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. So that means there is a possibility that you have to go through the multiple cycles. That is I think that is very well, in today's scenario that we are able to see here and there that some kind of, this kind of, we are feeling spirit and all those things. We have never heard of this in the old generations.
One more question which I have in my mind. When I was back in class 10th, my grandmother passed away, and at that time I was mature enough to understand what death is. That was the first time I witnessed many rituals and many things happening in my home, and I saw that, I witnessed everything. So, that one thing which I remember is we used to sit every day in that Garun Puran, the book named Garun Puran, and we used to listen to that. The priest, they just, spell it, and we used to listen to it. So, I'm not sure about everything, like, I don't remember so much, but according to me, how much I remember was that in that book, everything is written, like why we do those rituals and what is the reason behind it, and what is that soul feels like, what does that soul feels from the detachment till it goes up, and the meaning of the rituals, how it is to be done. So, what is your thoughts about this?
Yeah, see, as you are talking about the Garuda Puran, that is, it is also having two sections. One is talking about that how the soul is, the departed soul, how it is traveling and reaching, and what are the customs we are following in every level. As I told you in the beginning, that you have to satisfy that it's still roaming around, and then it is going to the second level, you are doing all the rituals and, going to Gaya or somewhere else. Then after that, you are just taking them safely to their ancestors group, so that their ancestors will take care of them and they will take them to the different world altogether. So far, they are neither here nor there, they were in between. Okay, so this, departed from this place, but it has not reached there. So still it is, it is not able to accept it. When it is reaching there, that we do the rituals to make them feel comfortable with their own, set of ancestors, so that, it is satisfying. So Garuda Puran is also talking about another one thing which we were discussing about the karma.
Yeah.
Okay, it talks about you do this, you have this kind of ill effects will be there. So it is also talking about if you do good things, what will happen? You will attain the moksha. So the kind of it also describes about the multiple the punishments which so like it's obviously it is not about the punishments or anything. It's about the karma. Okay, so if you do good karma, you will be having, there is no rebirth and you are getting the complete salvation. So, but the moksha. But this, when you are doing certain things, then you make the rebirth may be in different shapes. It is explaining about, like, you will be having this. So ultimately, it is talking about you will go through a trouble. So do good things, you will have a good peace. You do bad things, then for that, you will be going through a bad phase of your life. If it is not now, it's later. So we also hear, sometimes in, the house they say, Abhi nahi milega to baad mein to you will be suffering for sure. So that is maybe the belief or what the ancestors have told us. That is what we call it as the evidences which we are having mentioned by the ancestors. So that could be the case.
Yeah, and the rituals which we perform, like, are they really necessary?
See, that's what I told you, that this is a question many times. Even the modern generation people talk about that, the parents are good. That time you have to take care of the parents. After they want to do all those things and, But if you look into the Brahman, the culture, and, they say that it is, you ignore and daily you don't do puja. That is, the daily you don't go to temple. That is, you're not doing, it's okay. But, you have to do these kind of rituals because it is about the soul which is getting departed, that it's always mandatory. This is what I read from the Brahmin, the culture, whatever scripts we are having. So anything else you are ignoring is okay, but this we have to follow. So if you really understand and read that the Charitra, the Bhagavad Gita, and the kind of rituals whatever we are do Bhagavat, you read all those things, it will be talking about what are the why we have to do this and what is the meaning behind this ritual. So no rituals are created without any meaning. So even though you mantra whatever they are talking about, the mantras are different. If you see it's what we call it shubh and ashubh, that mantras are also different, and what kind of a materials they are using, this is also little amanishya, we call it, normal materials we don't use, they use black till and different kind of things they, so that is also something related to that satisfying that spirit.
Correct.
So you learn to the mantra also, it always talks about that you have this ancestors, and this is the link which we are telling that soul, there is a link. When you go up, look for this link. Okay, we give the some domain name we are giving to the people, no, like somebody is going to the next city, you will be telling this is the address, you go and meet this person, kind. So we have seen that the mantra, when they are talking about it, is having certain kind of the people who already died in that particular family, that is they give for the if somebody is a lady's mother, mother's mother, so they use the 3 generation name when they are doing the ritual. So they are telling that this is the card you take, this is the visiting card, go and meet them there.
Okay.
So you get settled over there.
Yeah,
So that kind of a situation it is.
And as you said that if the soul doesn't meet the ancestors, so that's always in between somewhere.
Yeah, but if you follow the rituals thoroughly, so that is, see, the first thing, as I told you, that it will, even in the 13 days, then it is looking for a possible way to stay back in that family. Yeah. So that's what I was telling, that the empty, the fortis which we talk about, that is, somebody is pregnant and just 2 months, 1 month is over. So it looks for, okay, I have an opportunity, it escapes from there. Okay, so that is one. The second level, you do all these rituals properly, however they are talking about, then they are automatically, it is you satisfy that soul, then it is going back to its own ancestor. If it is not satisfied, still it is not found any kind of a way out, maybe it is an unsatisfied soul, maybe roaming around, that we hear, but as a person, I feel it's a myth. When you have a belief on the God and for the good deeds and all, I feel that that is not going to affect any person. But maybe it is true that unsatisfied soul may be waiting for the complete things to get settled.
Yeah, because we have heard a lot of times that if the soul is not satisfied or something bad has happened to that soul in the previous life, so it's not possible for that soul to leave the grounds and go up, because there is a sense of anger and revenge in the soul. But I guess we heard it from many people, but we never saw it. There are few people who have seen it or they have myths in their mind, but I guess this is more of a psychological disorder or a myth, but not completely into.
I also agree with you. That is, it's a psychological feeling that if I feel that somebody has done this, and if that person is gone, then after that anything happens, that it may be like that is what they relate to the things.
Yeah,
and there are certain, as I mentioned, that it may be a mental disorder also. Sometimes they relate it with the this kind of spirit as occupied and all those things. But actually, if you look into the proper psychiatrist as handling that person, it may be something else. It is not that it is haunted by this kind of a spirit. So maybe there must be a dissatisfaction that soul is not reaching, but it is not going to affect any other person, because it is taking revenge and doing that I feel that it is a completely a myth. Okay. It may not be true, but we heard stories in and around that this is happening and all. But I believe that it is only your hormonal the changes, that they related with something else.
As I told earlier as well, you were the best person for this podcast, for this topic to have a conversation with. And you made the whole podcast in the first episode. Like, we are reading the first episode right now. And this will be very lively and very interactive, because we have you shared your thoughts, your insights, and we got to know many mysterious things which we were not knowing, especially related to the mythology or Hindu mythology, I say. Because in this era, if I talk about myself or the people around me, we are not so much connected to our grounds, that what has happened in the history or what is happening in the mythology. But when you said things, and when you shared your own knowledge, we found it so interesting that we just got to the flow and we were just talking. So, ma'am, thank you so much for giving your precious time, and we really, really, really enjoyed this session with you, and you made it very, very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Even it was a very interesting session for me too.
Yeah.
And as you have mentioned, that today's generation, that they don't believe in certain the rituals and the value system and all those things. Like especially the rituals, they feel that it is time consuming, and this mantra they never realize it. But I feel that everything is having some meaning behind it. And thanks to you, that it was a really interesting for me too to converse with you people.
Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
We hope that you come again and share your knowledge again.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.